evening, everybody. So I wanted to do a small segment on demonology today. For anybody that's interested, a bit of a demonology 101 on demonic presence, how they can affect us, and the difference between energies, and what we can do to protect us. Firstly, I want to talk about the difference between demons and negative. They are different, and it is really important to know that difference. So negative energies are inherently human. They are spirits that can possibly turn into poltergeists as well, but they were living beings at one time, who have now passed on, and they are haunting. Now they can either haunt a place, a person, or a thing. So if you move into a new house and start having negative energy issues, this doesn't necessarily mean it will leave when you move, because if it is attached to you or something you own, then it may come with you. If it was attached to the house and then has decided to attach itself to you, it may come with you. However, negative energies are quite easy to deal with compared to demonic ones. Demonic ones are obviously a lot more ferocious and vicious. Now, negative energies, cleansing rituals, rites of passage, all things like this will help. It's always worth looking into different types, because beliefs are very strong when it comes to dealing with negative presences. It may be a Catholic thing, it may be a pagan thing. There are a lot of different ways of dealing with negative, but it's what you truly believe more than anything else. When I'm doing a house cleansing, I'll always adapt to what is going on in that house. So if I have big Catholic or Christian strong beliefs, then I will work with that. If I have somebody who's a bit on don't really know, I tend to lean a lot more to pagan and natural rather than the big biblical side of belief and cleanse. Now, when negative energies, or if negative energies do turn into poltergeist, this can cause absolute havoc, because not only do you have an entity that wants to cause harm, you have an entity who then can physically cause harm by throwing things, slamming doors, all things like that. It can then not only take a real toll mentally on you, but it can also end up with injury. But because they still are of our realm, they have walked this earth as human, they are still technically a soul and nothing else, then our rules still apply to them. And that's why cleansing rituals and things will help with that, because they can't deny their own realm rule. As always, please contact a professional if you are dealing with these types of problems. You can always speak to your local priest, research your local paranormal group. There's possible that they have a professional in their team. Most people should have somebody that does know what they're doing with cleansing and protection and type, if they're in a paranormal group, witches, local pagans, anything that you believe or entrust to, that's your best bet to go with when trying to deal with negative energy. So demons are a lot harder to deal with. The reason is they have many identities. They aren't just one. Any demonologist will tell you we could go through 1,000 pages of books and still not be able to tell you what demons you are dealing with. Demons are said to be the offspring of Satan. Sorry. Are you okay there? Do you want to calm down for a minute? Sorry. Demons are said to be the offspring of Satan, the devil himself. And this is the difference between them and negative energies. Now, as I said, negative energies are human spirits, whereas demons are evil, they're malevolent, and they are here for one purpose, and that is destruction, basically, of people, of places, of health, of a lot of. There has been quite a proposal of demons being fallen angels. Sorry. Can we stop? Or I'm taking you down. Yes, there has been a lot of proposals of demons being fallen angels. Now this just isn't true. There is nothing in biblical history, religious history, any signs at all that demons are indeed fallen angels. Now, the backup of this is that angels were made in God's mind. They are God's creations, and they are able to take on a human form because they were made in God's mind. God created humans, therefore angels can take on a human's form. A lot of symbolism is people with wings, they are angels. However, if we look back a bit further, then maybe not so human-like. But yes, angels can take on human forms. Even fallen angels can take on human forms. So therefore, should a fallen angel become a demon, demons can't. That's why demons possess. So it would be very, very weird for fallen angels to then become demonic and lose a power that they've always had that's just second nature. So that's why there's this belief that fallen angels are not the same as demons. There's no expert in demonology who can tell you how demons are actually created. As I said previously, they are said to be the spawn of Satan and the devil himself. However, there's this whole dark side of what they are born of. Are they born of the earth? Are they born of a spirit? What they are born of and how they are created. However, there is a bit of a trend that as the human population grows, so does demonic ones. Whether this is a resulting of rebirth or whatever, no demonologist can tell you for sure. But there is definitely a growth of both. I want to talk about demonic presence. This is just an indication of a possible demonic entity, either in your life, someone else's life, or one that you so happen to come across. So if you're new to a location, as in you have just moved somewhere, or you've recently opened yourself up to something, be it in a group or spiritually or however, then these things can start off kind of slow. There'll be very little things to start with, and eventually they will build. Now, if you can catch them early, that's handy. But obviously, the more the time goes on, the crazier it generally starts with things like cold spots, which come naturally to anybody that's worked in the paranormal realm. Cold spots, how often do we all stumble across them, right? But they don't always necessarily mean spirit. They can also mean demonic. The other thing that goes along with cold spots is a really nasty smell. Now, generally you get people go, oh, it smells like my grandma's perfume or my dad's tobacco or something. If it's demonic, it's rancid. It's a rotting, dead, rancid smell. And that's generally the difference between spirit and demonic. Spirit will have a memory to its smell. If you had somebody that worked in a slaughterhouse, you might be able to smell the blood. You had somebody that smoked a lot, you'd be able to smell the tobacco. A mechanic, you'd be able to smell the petrol. Things like that. They have memories to them. They have a human reasoning. Whereas demonic knows nothing but hell. And also general uncleanliness of the area. It's like how often you clean that stain off the carpet, but it's still there. How often you clean out your toilet bowl, but it never comes clean. Things like that. Now, an uncleanliness will definitely mark the presence of a demonic entity. And then you have the original sense of somebody watching you. Now this again can come with a normal spirit, not even a negative one. I personally had one where a friend's grandfather was haunting the area that we were in, and he'd watch me and he'd wake me up, and as soon as he realised he had disturbed me, I'd feel absolutely calm and aware, and I'd go, "Lo siento, abuelo," and I'd talk to him. I'd say good night, or let me shower in peace, anything. And but I was fine, I was calm, I wasn't frightened. And that's just a general haunting of a pleasant person who I was in his house, and that was it. However, a demonic one, you'll feel the static, be an electric charge, only slight, doesn't have to be a big one, but you'll feel the hairs on the back of your neck go up, feel an unease, a shortness of breath, that kind of energy. That you're walking down an alley at night and you definitely know there's somebody behind you, that kind of being watched, not just a oh, somebody's over there staring at me, or God, I don't feel alone in here. It's a nervous energy. And that's generally followed by losing things. Not necessarily mind, but that does come. But little things. And again, this does happen with spirits too. Misplacing things turning up in places they shouldn't. I've had loads of instances, I couldn't even list them, but car keys are the biggest thing. Car keys always go missing, and everyone goes, well, I definitely put them there, and you find them on top of your fridge or something. Like, things like that will happen. Demonic tends to be a bit more malicious. So generally, general hauntings, things get moved, but they will, you find your purse in the fridge and you're like, but you found it. Whereas demonic will be disruptive to your day. Demonic would be, I'm locked in this room and I can't get out. Demonic will be, the window won't open and it's smoky in here because something's just set, my chip pan has just set on fire, that kind of thing. It won't be inconvenient, it would be malicious. And that's a big difference between demonic and movement of objects too comes under that. Things don't just go missing and vanish, although there is this whole thing about spirits and demons being able to take things into their realm, move them and go back out again. So technically, if you've lost your screwdriver, you won't see it floating along going to wherever it's going. It vanishes and then reappears. But that doesn't mean you won't see objects moved. Now, spirits will move anything. If they can, they'll move anything. Anything at all. They'll flip your flappy mirror shut. They'll knock your books off the shelf and things like that. However, the difference is the things that they're moving and to the extent. Now, demonic, obviously, things like this, crosses and such. This is quite heavy. I wouldn't expect a normal spirit to move this. Why? It's a cross. Doesn't mean much to anyone. However, demons, it does. So if this moved, then I know I'm up the creek without a paddle. However, this, my normal pendulum, that has been going a little bit crazy, anything could move this. So if this started moving, I wouldn't expect this to be demonic. And again, things like books. Now, people always say books are knocked off shelves and such. My thing is, what books? Because of my books, I've got loads of books, crazy amounts of books. They knocked over, they knocked over. However, if something like this went over, a demonology book, or even this, which I don't suggest anybody reads, by the way, Satan's Altar, anything like that, if they went over, then I'd be worried. This actually did turn up in my ghost hunting bag when I can't remember which area we were hunting. I can't remember what place it was that we're going to, but I was ghost hunting, and as I looked through my bag for my torches and such, this was in there. Did it worry me? No, it didn't worry me. The reason it didn't worry me is because it happened once, and it was a new book, and I assumed maybe there was something attached to it already, or it was something else going, new book, Carly, and not even realising. So don't always straight away, if your cross flips off the wall, panic that it's demonic. It's if it starts happening more, and it's if you walk past and the cross turns upside down, or your chains. This is another one I've always had when we did a church on Halloween. Now this is Baphomet. And this actually, as you can see, that is in the right angle, it never comes undone. This got undone on my neck at a church, and that evening that we had there, we did a voice box session with the headphones, and it was horrible, and it sounded like something was pounding on the walls of that church to get out. And the fact that it had undone this Baphomet necklace worried me slightly. So that was a big cleanse when we left there anyway. So then this can grow further. You'll find appliances have minds of their own. Kettles will boil themselves. Toasters will flip toast 8 miles high. All things like that. You'll find radios turn on, and it will just go on. You can hear voices, you can hear music playing, but you can never pinpoint where it comes from. Then that will grow into dreams, nightmares, that don't seem to make any sense, but you can't work out what they're about. Even into sleep paralysis now. If anybody has experienced this, it is terrifying, absolutely terrifying, and it is a surefire way of announcing a demonic presence, as in, like, right, you know I'm here, I know that I'm here, and I'm going to scare the living hell out of you. And again, that will expand even further. You'll feel a physical weight upon you, like you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You will feel heavy within yourself. You can even start seeing figures. It'll all be peripheral, but it wouldn't be human figures. It wouldn't be me sat on my lovely stiletto chair here with a cup of tea watching you. It would be like grotesque. It will be children that don't quite look like children. If you Google the dark-eyed children, that's a very, very demonic thing. Or it'll be old ladies who have no faces, things like that, just really almost human, but there's something not quite right. That shows very demonic ideas and presences. Dense blackness is another thing. You know, when you turn the light off in a room and it's dark, that's just dark. There's a dense blackness, like if you had your hand here you still couldn't see it. There is no light, no nothing. A thick dense blackness doesn't necessarily mean an entire room. It could mean a corner of a room or just a space that has turned densely. So then things like manipulation of reality will come into play. You could possibly start having phone calls from bodiless voices, you know, picking phones up and just hearing static. Phone calls from private numbers that nobody answers, or very cracky, you know, like a bad signal phone call, things like that. Conversations, you can sit down and have a conversation with somebody and that person doesn't remember that conversation at all. Radios, car radios seem to be a really big thing with people. Driving along and all of a sudden the car radio is telling you to drive off bridge, things like that, a manipulation of reality. So you aren't going mad, but it will certainly feel like you are, and that's called infestation. And it is an infestation. It's exactly that, of your home, of your being, of wherever you may be. It's starting to infest you. Think like when people say if you see one cockroach, there's probably another 300 in the room that you can't see. That kind of thing. This will then unfold into physical. Shoves, pushes, trips, falls, being shoved downstairs, head pushing into things, you know, being shoved over in the shower, trips and slips and falls. Now the thing is, with trips, slips, falls, shoves and pushes, so everyone kind of goes, wow, yeah, but you probably just fell, didn't you? Or yeah, you probably just tripped over your own feet or whatever. We all know when we've had something on the back of our shoulder or something hit our head, we know that. But at the same time, because nobody else is understanding it, we feel like we're going mental, and we then choose to ignore it. That's the worst thing that you can do, is allow this to get worse. Scratch marks, Scratch marks and bites are a huge thing. Everybody says normally it'll be 3, because this is a mocking of the Lord, but generally it doesn't matter if it's 3 or if it's 1, it's still a scratch. Scratch marks, bite marks, bruises, unexplained bruises, all things like this. Your sleep paralysis will worsen as well. It can go from once a week to 3 times a night, from being a 10-minute thing to a 2-hour thing. It could literally just be your entire night of horror. Indescribable illnesses as well. You could be a perfectly fit, healthy person whose kidney fails. So then let's do a 101 on dealing with demons that you so happen to come across. Generally this will only happen if you like paranormal investigating and such. So far I actually haven't come across anything demonic. Maybe here and there touched upon, but nothing so bad. Most of it's been negative energies. Now the first thing to do, if you know that there's a demonic presence or you're suspicious that there is, please do not disrespect a demonic presence. Everyone has this thing of calling out, right? You come and scratch my friend, you come and scratch me too. The problem with doing this, if it's negative, there is none. Go for it, knock yourself out. If it's demonic, yeah, it will scratch you, but it ain't going to do it when you tell it to. It'll come home with you. It'll wait weeks and weeks before it decides to finally scratch you. By that point, you're halfway through obsession. So you do have to be very aware of not calling out a demon. Be really, really respectful of them. Don't demand anything from them. Not to show themselves, not to speak, nothing. Wording is really important. You can ask, you can request, but do not demand. Things like, I'm aware that you're here. I have heard of your power. Is there any possibility that we can see this power now? You have to, if you do challenge, well, challenge, no, if you do request a demon to do something, do be time specific about it. If you turn around and say, hey, I would really like you to show yourself again, okay, fine, but it'll do it at 3 AM when you're tucked up in bed by yourself. You have to be time specific. You have to say, whilst I am here, whilst we are in your house, whilst we are here, we would really like to see something that you can do. Like, you know, yeah, they can throw something at your head, but might be when you're walking home by yourself 3 weeks down the line. Things like that. You have to be specific, but you also have to be thank, which I know sounds ridiculous, that you're thanking a demonic entity for doing something that you've asked it to do. But hey, if somebody asked you to do something and didn't say thank you afterwards, I'm pretty sure you'd be annoyed. Things that you can do to protect yourself as well. So if you're entering a place of demonic presence, you can first off start with doing a cleanse, so you're not taking in anything extra negative in with you. You can also call upon any deity, any saint, any angel, any guardian, any element, whatever you may choose, to, like, as a declaration of protection. You can also protect with stones and crystals, anything that you've had blessed or indeed blessed yourself. By all means, do bless your own things. People are normally drawn to things, so I always suggest getting multiples. Everybody says certain things for certain problems, but not necessarily. So choose what works best for you. And also when leaving the presence, again, a declaration of protection from whichever person, saint, guardian you have chosen. A request that nothing leaves with you, no presence follows you, and a respectful wish to be left alone and left unharmed. And I normally finish with a, I thank you very much. You are not allowed in this realm with myself. I will now be leaving here alone and unharmed, and I am protected by my light of whoever I've decided at the time, and therefore I will not be followed by anything in here. Black onyx is a really good protection stone. Amethyst as well, everybody shouts by amethyst. Everybody says sage for cleansing, but actually cedarwood is a lot better. But as well, there are rules that come to that. Cedarwood and sage cleansing is a real Native American thing, and it's a real pagan thing. And if you are not gifted for a cleanser, then you are actually going against respects and beliefs. However, saying that doesn't mean you can't go and buy your own. Of course you can. However, I would suggest getting it blessed before you use it, because you could actually be having the opposite effect. Demons will then concentrate their activities from within a human. This will be so that the person is no longer subject to free will. Think like puppet on a string. That is then possession. Whether it happens infrequently or frequently, that is possession. Now, in this situation, again, please call in a professional. That's the best thing that you can do. Trying to cleanse yourself of a demonic presence will do nothing. Trying to cleanse somebody else who is close to you of a demonic presence, if you do not know what you're doing, there is a strong possibility you will just make this to 2 hour thing. And then there is a possibility of indescribable illnesses as well. Now this can be anything. You could be a perfectly fit and healthy person who has kidney failure all of a sudden, or just indescribable illnesses that doctors kind of go, well, that came out of nowhere, like small strokes, heart attacks, things like that, just out of nowhere. And then this is called oppression. It's the physical starts oppressing you physically, and this is where this is the next level. Things only get worse. So from obsession is next. Now obsession is the mental side of things. It is the disturbance that comes in. Now mental health nowadays is obviously very advocated for, and it is understood a lot more, thank God. However, this doesn't mean that every mental health case is demonic possession, and every demonic possession is a mental health case. It's a very fine line to tread, but it is one that we can tread, and we will. Now, mental disturbance coming from demonic possessions or obsessions, should I say, it's like persistent temptations. It's intense needs, bouts of depression, phobias, and like unnatural thought processes. Now I don't mean a phobia of I dislike spiders and they're terrifying. I like spiders, they're nice. This would be like a waking up in the middle of the night thinking you're drowning in spiders and you can't breathe. This is going from my neighbour's dog is a bit annoying and doesn't stop barking, to if I just string that thing up, I don't have to hear it bark anymore. From going, I don't really feel like going to work today, to if I drive my car into that wall, then I don't have to work ever again. If anyone you know, or indeed yourself, is experiencing things like this, please do contact professionals. As I said previously, most paranormal groups will run with a protector or a cleanser of sorts, a medium who may even be able to differentiate between spirit and demonic. You may even be lucky enough to have a demonologist in the group, all things like that. Don't entice, don't engage, don't challenge, because you don't know what you're dealing with. Please do always reach out, because there are people that do. I love everybody, and I hope you all have a wonderful time. Light and blessings to you all.